there's often like very clear paths, like you should go to a special program in college, and then they have people that scout you there, blah, blah, blah. But that's not how voice acting is. At least that's not how it was when I started. The very first time I thought about being a voice actor was when I was pretty young. I want to say like 9 or 10 or something. And I was watching the Disney Channel. And I haven't watched the Disney Channel in a while, so I don't know if they still do this. But they used to do like interviews with their actors sometimes in the commercial breaks. And one of the interviews that they were doing was with the actress for Kim Possible, which was one of my favorite cartoons at the time. And she was like, yeah, voice acting's great because I can go to work in my pajamas. And I was in my pajamas at the time. And I was like, wow, wouldn't that be great if I didn't have to change out of my pajamas ever? How fun. So then my mom walked in, and I was like, Mom, I know what I want to be when I grow up. And she was like, oh, that's great. What is it? And I was like, a voice actor. And then she laughed, and she was like, that's not a real job. And she like continued on to the whatever she was doing. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I forgot about it for a long time. I was acting as like a hobby, in extracurricular activities and stuff all throughout school. I wanted to be in all the plays in elementary school. I remember my first play that I was in was The Three Little Pigs, and I played the big bad wolf. And it was very exciting. And that was in kindergarten. And then the next year in first grade, we were doing Jack and the Beanstalk. And I was like, I'm going to be Jack because he's the lead. And the teacher was like, well, no. you played the big bad wolf last year, which was like the biggest role. So we got to give it to somebody else. Which I think actually I was a girl. They were like, you're not Jack. It's crazy. But so they made me part of the Beanstalk, and I remember being so furious. I had like one line, and I stood up and I said my line, and then I sat down and glared at the floor for the rest of the play. So that was my first rejection in acting. Took it hard. But yeah, so I did like competitive speech and debate in high school. I did mock trial. I just really liked to act, but I never saw it as like, that's what my job will be. It was just a fun outlet because I love telling stories. I love kind of getting to be somebody else. I don't know. I feel like I get nervous if I was gonna do a presentation in school as myself, I would be very nervous. But if I was gonna go up on stage and be a different person, then suddenly I'm not nervous anymore because I'm like, well, that's not Erika up there. That's Beanstalk number 2. So I really liked that. It was like a thrill and a rush. But I was very good at like math and science, and so my parents were like, yeah, go be like a scientist or like a doctor or something. And I was like, okay. I wanted to be a veterinarian. And then I realized in my junior year of high school that like veterinarians are often end of care life for animals, which makes sense, but I'd never really thought about it before. And I was like, oh no, I don't know if I can do that. So I kind of changed direction. I'd also done art since I was 5. So I thought maybe I wanted to like create cartoons or video games because I'd never grown out of it. All my friends had gone through the phase where they were like, I'm too old for cartoons. And I was always like, I'm not. When's the next episode of Danny Phantom? I'm ready. Fruits Basket, first crush was Kyo, like I love it. I went to an all-girls school, and there was one time at lunch where, I forget how it started, but they were like, everyone go around and say what your type is, And I was like, mine is white hair and green eyes. And they were like, what are you talking about? And then one of my friends was like, she's talking about that ghost show that she likes. And I was like, yeah, Danny Phantom, he's hot. So I was like, well, maybe that's what I should do. I should just continue with that path. So I went to college for graphic design and computer science, thinking, I'd maybe program games and like create games or something. And then I hated computer science so much. It turns out going to school with a double major in both a computer science and an art is a bad idea because the computer science people were like, you have to use a PC. And the art people were like, you have to use a Mac. And I was like, well, I'm not made of money, so I have to pick one or the other. And I had a Mac. And then every time I would turn something in for my computer science class, they would be like, technically you're correct, but the layout's wrong, so you fail. And I was like, I don't know what to do, because this is how the layout is on the Mac, okay? So anyway, I was upset, and I took a intro to acting class as like an elective, because I was like, acting always makes me happy. I'm just gonna do that. Oh, these lights are really good. Now it's dark. What's happening in here? It's like a rave, a really slow rave. So I took the intro to acting class, and the teacher was like the head of the acting department at my college. And she was like, you should think about changing your major to acting. And I was like, that's a silly thing to say, whatever. And then I went to my first anime convention around the same time, which was an experience. I was not expecting so many people. I liked 3 animes at the time, and I was like, I'm a hardcore anime fan. And then I showed up and I was like, oh, just kidding. I don't know what 97% of these animes are, but I thought I was in over my head. But while I was there, I saw an advertisement for a voice acting class. And I was like, hey, that's a thing I thought existed once, many years ago. So I signed up for it. It was like a full day class on like an upcoming Saturday or something. And the teacher was Tony Oliver, who is a very prominent director and actor in the anime world. He was the producer for Power Rangers back in the day. He plays Lupin in Lupin the Third. He's directed a ton of things that I'm in. He directed Hunter x Hunter. And so at the end of the class, he said the same thing that the teacher had said at school. And he was like, you should think about doing this as a career, because I think you have some talent in this. And I was like, all right, that's 2 people in the same kind of vicinity of time. And I wasn't happy with computer science. I liked art, but graphic design wasn't like my thing that I really wanted to do. And even though I liked art, I really did not like the deadlines of doing art as like a career. So I decided that I would just try it out. I would change my major to acting, and I was like, if it doesn't work out, that's fine. I'm young. I can like go back and figure out a different career later. It'll be great. My parents were like, what happened? What about all your science and math and things? And I was like, sorry. I could play a scientist maybe in a show. And I just decided that I'd rather like look back and not wonder what if, like I'd rather try and fail than not try at all and just never know if I could have done something that I loved. And so I think it was like a year later, I ended up getting an internship at Bang Zoom Entertainment over the summer, which they do a bunch of anime and stuff, and it was a production internship. And they hired me on into the production department after the internship was over. So then I worked there for like a year and a half, and they knew that I wanted to be an actor, so they were like, do you want to sit in on sessions and like see how it works? And Tony was directing there, and he was like, hey, I remember you. And I was like, hello, I'm here. I took your advice. And eventually they started giving me auditions, which I think were just at first kind of pity auditions because I was not that good, even though I thought I was really good. And I was, no. But I kept working at school on learning, all the acting basics and everything, and I got better and better. And then I started booking things. And since I was still in college and now doing basically a full-time production job and now booking acting jobs, there was too many things to do at once. So I had to pick 2 out of the 3. And I decided to finish college because my parents would have had heart attacks if I had not picked that one. And then I decided I would rather be an actor than a producer. And so I left production, and 1 week later, I got cast in my first main character video game role, which was Aisha in Atelier Aisha, which was 20 hours of recording, and I would not have had time to do that job if I hadn't just quit the production job. So I took that as a sign from the universe that was good work, good choices, you did it. And then ever since then, I don't know, I kind of blinked and now I'm here. So yeah, that's how I got into it. Everybody's story is different. It's there's no clear path. So when people ask me for like advice on how to get into it, it's really hard to answer that question because I don't really know. Just like do as much acting as you can and take as many acting classes as you can find. Now because of the pandemic, which overall was bad, you know, we can all agree. It has made it easier for people who don't live in like Los Angeles to start getting into stuff like this because now there's a lot of online classes and like they're more open to hiring people that don't live in the area, which is really cool. So that's one little tiny positive thing that has happened over the last couple of years in the industry. So hooray for all of you who don't live in Los Angeles. Anyway, that's the story. If anybody else has any questions, please line up here. Otherwise, I will just think about how much I love Kingdom Hearts. It's a really good game. If you guys haven't played it, you really should. I have a YouTube series where I'm playing through it with one of my friends who had never played it before, and so good. Thank you. Her reactions are very funny. She was not prepared. Hello, Kyoko Carrier. You look so good.
Thank you.
My goodness.
I wanted to ask if there's any like more obscure roles that you've done that you're like particularly proud of or that you wish more people knew about.
Yes. Oh, I love that question. Okay, so one of my favorite roles that I've done is this character named Jackie in a show called Brand New Animal. And he's a little like raccoon boy, tanuki boy. And he is so funny and silly, and he talks like this because he's so excited. And I got to like do random like singing, bad singing, rapping stuff in that show, and it was so funny. We laughed the whole time, and then I feel like that show really flew under the radar, and I was like, no, I love Jackie. So that's one of my favorites. I also really I played Haley Ann in Yokai Watch, which was so much fun. She is a brat who does not like yokai, and she really loves aliens. And every time she meets a yokai, she's very angry that it is not an alien. So again, it was a really fun character. Thank you for the question. Hello. How's it going?
Going well.
Good.
You voiced a character named Menoa in the Digimon Kizuna movie.
Yes.
What was it like getting to play a character like that who's got like the best of intentions but goes just like completely the wrong way in a very tragic kind of...
Yeah. I love getting to play characters like that because I like characters that are, you know, like complex. And also just getting to be in the Digimon universe was so cool. That was actually the very first project I recorded during the pandemic. And it was so stressful because, you know, the world shut down. And at first, if you might recall, everyone was like, it'll be over in like a week or two, like whatever. So they were like, yeah, just like take the week off, we'll be great, we'll come back in a week. And then we all got emailed on like Friday, and they were like, hey, so this is gonna last longer than we thought, so by Monday you need to be studio ready. Your house needs to sound like a professional studio, otherwise we are recasting you and all the things. So it was so stressful. Thankfully, I managed to like scramble and get my closet sounding relatively okay. And that was the very first project that was done from my closet. Very exciting. But yeah, I love her. Digimon and Pokemon, you know, are like the OG things that I knew about when I was a child before realizing what anime was. I was like, these are cool shows. I don't know anything about the origins of them. I just think they're cartoons. Turns out, so much more.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Hi.
Hello, Sarah. Thank you for coming down to YamaCon this year.
Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you for coming to YamaCon this year.
Yes.
I have two Violet Evergarden questions for you.
Yeah.
So first one is, have you heard about the Violet Evergarden MMORPG they're making?
No.
If
What?
you-
That's so cool.
If you cry in the game, you cry in real life.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Bunch.
Yeah. So the next one is, of course, you know, everyone kind of who's watched the show because knows it's a very emotional kind of show. How frequently if you watch a show where you're voiced in, like how often do you get like either emotionally caught up or you feel like an emotion that the character experienced in one of your animes?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I don't watch everything that I'm in nowadays because I don't have a lot of time in my life nowadays. But I did watch Violet Evergarden because I loved that show so much. And it was one season, so I was like, easy. So yeah, I can do it. And it was really nice to be watching it and feel like the freedom to get really emotional. Because while I was recording for Violet, I was trying not to like, dissolve into tears while we're recording. Because we'll be doing a crying scene and then 1 minute later we'll be jumping to the next episode where everything's fine and you have to sound like you haven't been crying. And I had like a sinus issue where if I cried, I would sound stuffy for the rest of the day. So I had to really like hold my emotions in. I could like act like I was emotional while I was recording, but I couldn't really, let myself get fully into it. So I was watching. It was really nice to just be able to cry on my couch while I was watching the show. It was such a good show. And there are also like moments that when I'm recording, if my character's not directly saying lines or talking to somebody, I generally don't see the scene. I don't know what's going on. So I knew like the basics of all the episodes, but if Violet wasn't involved in certain moments, like monologues that other characters had, then I wouldn't know the impact of them. So episode 10 with the letters to
Yes.
the child, I knew what that episode was about, but I hadn't like heard all the letters.
That one's an atomic bomb going on.
Yeah, that one. So when I was watching it at my house, I was like, oh my god, this is so painful. But yeah, that's really the only time that I've watched something and cried over something that I'm in. There was another project I did called I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, which I know, the title is hilarious. And when I got the audition, I was like, is this a zombie movie? No. Turns out it's a very tragic drama. And it's one of the most beautiful projects I've ever been a part of. And I went to go see it in theaters because they were showing it for, like a weekend, how they do sometimes with anime movies. And everyone around me is like bawling their eyes out at the end of the movie. And I was just like, yeah. cry, I got you. So I was more like, haha, success. But for that one, I had been voicing for all the like really emotional stuff, so like I knew all the stuff that was coming. But yeah, I really like doing projects that evoke emotions in people. So if you ever cry watching something that I'm in, know that I am cheering from far away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. I'm so happy to get to talk to you again.
Hey, nice to see you.
It's to see you. You voice one of my favorite characters of all time. I already told you, Yumeko from Kakege. I am absolutely obsessed with it. What was it like being able to voice Yumeko, and what was it like trying to I guess get into the part of playing her, and how did that even come about? How did you even get to voice her?
So Yumeko, if those of you who don't know, Kakegurui is a very tame show about gambling. It's totally super chill. And so most of the time for the jobs that I do, I audition for almost everything. Every once in a while, a studio that I've worked at before will send an audition that I did for something else. For a new project. And that's what happened with this one. They sent a previous audition that I'd sent in for a completely different show to the creators, and they were like, hey, she sent this in for something else, but I think she would be good for Yumeko. What do you guys think? And they were like, yeah. And so I got the email being like, hey, congratulations, you were cast as the lead in this really super tame gambling show. And I was like, okay. So I looked up the trailer, and I was like, oh, very tame. Super, yeah. So I went in, and the casting director was like, hi. So I just want to make sure, did you look up the show? I was like, yeah, I did. She was like, okay, cool, because your character, she really likes gambling. She really likes it. And I was like, okay, cool. As long as it doesn't enter into my character doesn't do anything, hentai or anything. She was like, no, it's not hentai. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I was like, cool. So I went in to record, and I had never worked with the director before, which was Steve Staley. And so I was kind of nervous that my first impression on him was going to be me being a psychopath. And the beginning of the first episode, Yumeko seems super normal. She's just like, hi, I'm a sweet high school girl, regular. Wow, what a cool school that we're going to. And then it's like at the end of the first episode when she reveals her true colors of how much she loves gambling. So we got to that scene, and he was like, all right, let's do this scene, and then I have to take the scene and go to the casting director and have her review it and make sure it's good, because this is like the big moment, for your character in the first episode. And I was like, okay. So we did the scene, and then he left for like 3 minutes, and I was just standing in the booth like, I hope it's okay. I think I was like very red after the first scene. And then he came back and he was like, it was great. She loved it. All right, let's keep going. And then after that, I was like, okay, great. And then I just had fun with the rest of the show because I was like, okay, perfect. Now I know where we're going with this. It's going to be great. And yeah, I love that show. I'm really hoping we do a season 3 at some point. The way season 2 ended, it really felt like it was going to be season 3 coming up, and then they haven't done it yet. So fingers crossed. Yeah. But I love Yumeko. She's very, it's a good way to like let off some craziness in the booth. There are certain characters where I'm like, great, I don't have to go to therapy this week because I'm just going to scream in the booth and it's going to be awesome. So, and she's one of those. Thank you.
Thank you. I love you so much.
Hello. I have some Kingdom Hearts questions.
Yes.
First
so
off,
ready to answer that.
just two. But what's your favorite Kingdom Hearts game? And if you could play one character, who would it be?
Okay, my favorite Kingdom Hearts game is Kingdom Hearts 2, which is the one that we're on in my playthrough right now, so you should go watch it. I feel that Kingdom Hearts 2 is perfect from every aspect. It has a great story and a great conclusion, and it cried so much when I was a 15-year-old child. I was like, I'm the same age as Sora. This was my life story, and I love it. So that will forever be my favorite game. Even though I did get to be additional characters in Kingdom Hearts 3, so like I feel like that one should be my favorite, but like Kingdom Hearts 2 is my favorite. So, and then if I could play any character, do you mean a character that already like is in the games?
Yeah, it doesn't matter who played them. Like,
Okay.
it just, if you were like selfishly like, okay, if I could replace somebody.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I would want to be Kairi.
Yeah.
Because I love Kairi so much, and I maintain that someday she is going to get the justice she deserves of having
Hopefully.
a big fighting scene where she saves everybody. She's been training for 15 years at this point. She deserves it. They said they were going to give it to us in the rhythm game, and then she morphs into Sora, and I was like, Sora, I love you, but get out of here.
They tricked
This
us.
is not your time, my boy. So yeah, I love Kairi. Back before I was doing professional voice acting, I used to, with my friends, we would like practice random characters, And one of the ones that I would always practice was Kairi, because I was like, I love her. She's my favorite. OTP. So yeah, that's my answer. But I would love to be a named character in the series at some point, maybe someday.
We're rooting for you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. This is Kingdom Hearts time because I also have a Kingdom Hearts question.
Love it so much.
So I was actually going to ask what your favorite game was, but that was been answered. So what is your favorite team composition so far that you've been able to play in all the worlds?
Oh, like my favorite team up?
Yep.
Ooh, oh my gosh. Okay, so 2 of my favorite Disney movies are, I'll give you my top 3 favorite Disney movies. Number 1 is The Lion King. So, Kingdom Hearts 2, I screamed when The Lion King world, because back then, you guys, you don't understand. This was one of my favorite things. They didn't tell us all the worlds that were going to be in Kingdom Hearts 2. And so while you were playing through, you would be like, oh my God, is that Pride Rock? And it was the most amazing experience. With Kingdom Hearts 3, I don't know why, they told us literally everything. And I was so sure, I was like, there's gonna be a secret. There's gonna be some world they haven't told us. And then no, I was devastated. But anyway, So I love the Lion King world, but we don't team up with anybody. No, we do team up with Simba.
Sort
That's
of,
right.
yeah, Simba.
But like, I feel like since Simba was a summon, I was like less excited about the team up. I was
Yeah.
just like excited to be a lion. My other two favorite Disney movies are Tangled and Big Hero 6. So, Kingdom Hearts 3, those team ups, I was psyched about. Oh my gosh, getting to team up with Rapunzel, I was like, you are the coolest and I love you so much. And she was so cool with her hair, killing all the Heartless, swinging through the trees. It was great. And then Baymax, you know, I love Baymax so much.
Big
So,
Hero 6 was
those
good.
are my favorite
It
team
was
ups
good.
so far. I also liked that Sora, Donald, and Goofy pretended they were a superhero team. I was
Yeah.
like, you dorks, you're not a superhero team. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello! Oh my gosh, it's two of my characters at the same time. Wow. You guys look great.
I was wondering, what are your thoughts on La Signora?
La Senora. Yeah. In Genshin. I think she got what she deserved. Don't steal from other people. It's very rude, okay? Especially from a god. That's just asking for trouble, honestly.
Hello, my name's Naba. I have two questions. What was it like voicing for Genshin Impact?
So fun. So I originally did not realize how big that game was gonna be. I thought it was just like a little phone game, and I was like, they had showed me a little bit of the gameplay, and I was like, wow, it's beautiful. I hope people play it. Like, I hope a couple people like it and play it. And then it turned into what it is now. So, you know, before it came out, Venti's in a lot of the early games, so I had a good amount of sessions. I was recording for like a couple months straight. And it was before the pandemic, so I was going into the studio, having a great time. And then I remember we finished up, and I was like, wow, okay, cool, that was really fun. Hopefully there's some updates at some point where I can come back. Because they had been like, we planned for this game to go for like maybe a decade or something, I don't know. So just like kind of be prepared to get maybe called back in. So I was like, bye. And then the pandemic happened, and then it came out during the pandemic, and everyone needed an escape from their lives. And then they were like, this gorgeous game that is free to download on my phone is the perfect thing to do. And then suddenly it was gigantic. And they were like, can you come back in quite often, all the time, to voice Venti again? And I was like, of course, I love him. He's a nice, silly little bean. Okay, so I originally auditioned for a handful of characters, none of whom were Venti. I auditioned for Amber and Lisa, and then two others who I forget, but they were all Mondstadters. And I actually got called back for Lisa, so that was what I did the callback for. Very different character. She's like sexy librarian, not a drunken bard boy. And so I went in, I did the callback, and then I didn't hear anything, which means I didn't get it. And so I was like, oh, bummer. But, oh well, when that happens. And then the director sent me an email like a month later and was like, hey, we want you to come in for this other character. And I was like, oh, is it one of the other ones that I auditioned for? And he was like, no, not at all. He is a drunken 1,000-something-year-old guy pretending to be the cute boy, great. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, you can do it. We got it. Don't worry. So I came in, they had like 10 clients in the room, and they were like, no pressure. All right, do it. Go. Give us your best bard boy impression. And so we worked on the voice for like half an hour to an hour, and then they were relatively happy. Happy enough that they didn't come back for the second session, so it was just me and the director, much less scary. But I was so excited when they told me he was a bard, because one of my goals when I get to be in projects is to sing, because I love to sing. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that you guys brought me in for a bard, because I love to sing. Oh my gosh, this is going to be great. And they kind of looked at each other and they were like, that's nice. He doesn't sing, though. He does spoken word poetry. And I was like, what? Why would you get my hopes up like this? And then crush them in one fell swoop. So I spent about 3 years, every time there was a session, I would be like, what if he sang? No, what if he sang at some point? And finally, there was one session this previous year, and I was pretty speedy. You know, we'd finished like half an hour early. And I was like, all right, so this last part, we've been talking in this event the whole time about how he's gonna perform a song. He's gonna do a song. I know you want it to be spoken word poetry, I get it, okay. But since we have time, what if just for fun, just to like be silly, I did a version that you want with the spoken word poetry, and then I did like a song version, just for fun, just for giggles. And they were like, okay, well, we don't have a tune, like, could you come up with a tune? And I was like, yeah, give me 5 minutes. So we went on a break. I came up with a tune. We came back, and I was like, all right, I got it. I did one take of this random tune. And they were like, whoa, that was cool. Probably we won't use that, though, because the other languages aren't going to sing. And I was like, that's all right. But you liked it, though, right? And they were like, yeah. We'll tell the higher-ups that we liked it. And, you know, maybe, but probably not. And then a few months later, I started getting tagged on TikTok in the scene, and he was singing. And they were like, oh my gosh, in English, Venti sings. It's very exciting. Ah. And so I texted the director, and I was like, they used it. They used the singing take. Because he also had been every single session where there was a song. He was like, what if we sang it? He really wanted me to sing. And so we celebrated over text. And he was like, dude, yeah, that's awesome. Since then, I have not succeeded in that again. Oh, no. But my goal is, because everyone loved it so much, the fans were all really excited that he sang in English. And so I'm hoping that they saw the reaction and that at some point they'll let all of the different Ventis come up with our own tunes, so then each version is really unique. You know, the Chinese actor or actress gets to come up with her own tune, and it's very unique to her, and then I come up with my own tune that's probably a little jauntier, because the way that I play Venti is a little jauntier than the original Chinese, and, you know, so on and so forth. And I think it would be so cool and so, like, special. So far, no luck, though, but, you know. On those surveys that they do every now and then, maybe you say that you want Venti to sing.
Yes.
Okay? Because I want to sing again. Thank you.
So my second question, it's more of a request.
Yes.
My birthday is tomorrow, and I was wondering if you could say happy birthday in Shinobu's voice.
Yes! What's your name?
Naba.
Naba? Happy birthday, Naba. I hope you have a fantastic day. Keep an eye out for demons, all right?
Thank
Sometimes
you.
they try and ruin things. Yay!
Hello. So, more Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, yes. This is a great crowd. I love you guys.
Sorry, that's like one of my all-time favorite video game franchises.
You don't have to apologize. Honestly, I would have been happy to just ramble about it this whole time.
But if Kairi is your favorite character, so I want to know, like, I was going to ask who your favorite character was and why. So if it is her, do you have a second? And I want to know your favorite scene from the games, because my personal favorite character is Aqua. I love her so much. And my favorite scene is from the end of 2 with the thinking of you wherever you are letter.
It's a good scene.
Yes.
So Kairi, I would say, is my second favorite character, actually. Sora's my favorite. I know I'm very basic. I played the first game when I was 14 and the second game when I was 15, so I was like, I'm Sora's same age, we're the same. He and I, we're buddies, we're pals. And I just really like his positivity. You know, he has a lot of dark stuff going on, but I like that he'll have moments of feeling like he'll let the hopelessness get to him, but then he comes back and he's like, it's okay, we're gonna get through it and everything's gonna be great and I'm gonna find my friends. I just really like that. My favorite scene, oh God, it's so hard to pick. There have been a lot of scenes over the years. I think the end of the first game, when Sora and Kairi are holding hands, and he says, I'll come back for you, I promise. And she says, I know you will. And then it does the song. I cried my eyes out. And I remember I was sitting about this close to the TV screen when I played the end of the game, because I was like, gotta beat in some. And my dad and my sister were on the couch behind me. They'd been like watching the game on and off, but they like hadn't really been following it. So they didn't get the impact, okay? And so I was crying on the floor watching this beautiful scene. And I remember my sister goes, "You crying?" And I was like, "Yes, it's so beautiful. Are you not crying? Look at this." And my dad started laughing, and he was like, "Okay, well, I'm glad we got you this game. Glad you liked it." So yeah, that's one of my like most distinct memories from playing the game. So I love that scene so much. It's so beautiful. And now having played into future games, it's okay. I know that he does come back for her. Spoilers.
Yeah, I
yeah.
think the best.
Thank you.
I think the best Sora goofball moment is in 2 when Riku's like, "How am I supposed to face everyone? Like this?"
Oh yeah. Oh, see, Sora's just such a funny guy. I love him. He's got some lightheartedness that I aspire to have. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
I'm back.
You're back. Hello.
So you played Kirigiri in the games, right? And you got invited back to voice her for DRV3 as well?
Yes.
Right? Okay. Did you get invited to voice for the anime? Do you wish that you had? Or like, what are your feelings about that situation?
Yeah. So no, they didn't reach out to us for the anime, which we were really bummed about because we all love the game, like the actors for the game. And some of us emailed and were like, "Hey, we heard that like auditions for the game came out. We'll like fly out to Texas if you want. We'll buy our own tickets." And then they didn't reply. They were like, "Who are these people? We don't know them." So I was very sad about it. However, they cast Caitlin Glass as Kirigiri in the anime. And I was a huge fan of Caitlin Glass. Before I was a voice actor, when I was like a fan who went to conventions, I used to watch YouTube videos of her panels online because I just thought she was really talented and really funny. And I was like, wow, she's so cool. She's like one of my inspirations. So when she was cast as my character, I was like, okay, I'm bummed that I'm not in the anime. However, now I have a reason to speak to her because I had been too nervous to talk to her before. And so I saw her at, it was like for, I think it was a cast party for K-On! Yeah, no. Was it K-On? I don't remember. Love Live, that's what it was. A cast party for Love Live. And she was there. And I was like, okay. I'm gonna go up to her. And I'm gonna be like, hi. No, hi. I'm regular and not fangirling like crazy. So I went over to her and I was like, hi Caitlin. I just wanted to say hello because I play Kyoko in the games and you play her in the anime and I just wanted to say that I think you're really cool.
Oh my gosh.
And she was like, oh, hi, do you want to take a photo together? And I was like, yes. So since then we've talked and I've been less awkward. But I was so excited. So I was sad that I didn't get to be in the anime, but it worked out for me personally great.
Yeah.
And then for season 2 of the anime, I think they realized that people really liked the game cast, so they did invite the game cast for the season 2 characters. So that's why those characters are mostly the same as in the game. But the first season are all Texas actors, and the game was recorded in Los Angeles. So they were like, we don't know you guys. Where are you? Who knows? So far away.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hey, I have a question in regards to Venti.
Yes.
What was the best chemistry between the character and Paimon, in your opinion?
Between Venti and Paimon?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, Venti and Paimon have a kind of love-hate relationship going on. I liked the moment when we were recording the scene. I forget what's going on in the scene, but Paimon says it's stuck, and then Venti goes, it's stuck, like mocking Paimon. And when we were recording it, I remember the director being like, okay, so like, is Venti supposed to be like mean here? Like, what's going on? Are we like really making fun of Paimon? And the clients were like, no, like not mean, but like teasing. So we recorded a bunch of different versions ranging in meanness. And they picked something kind of in the middle. But that was a very fun moment of being just silly with Paimon. I really like their dynamic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yay! Hello.
Hello again. Quick observation here. So you mentioned like, oh, maybe I'll voice a scientist, but between Minoa and your character from Godzilla Singular Point, you voiced several at this point.
Yes.
Let's see. I forgot my question, but let's go with
That happens to me all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I've asked several Genshin voice actors this, like Griffin Burns and Kaylee Mills and stuff. What was the point that you realized, oh, this is something big?
For Genshin?
Yeah, for Genshin.
I think it was the day it released, because immediately it was just like an explosion. On Twitter it was like trending like crazy, like hundreds of thousands of tweets about this game, and just like everybody was so excited. And because I don't think the company realized how big it was going to be either. So they hadn't told us if we could announce our roles in the game. Which, before it was out, I was like, whatever, it's like a little phone game. They'll let me know when I can say it or whatever. And then once it was out and people started being like, hey, Erika, do you play this character right here? And I wasn't allowed to say anything. I was like, okay, hello, can I talk about this game yet or no? And I really wanted to stream it on my channel, but I didn't want to start streaming it and then have everyone be asking like, why are you streaming this? Are you in it? Are you this character right here? And then I would get in trouble because companies are really intense about us talking about things. So it took them about a month to let us announce that we were in it, which sucked because Venti's first banner was for the first 3 weeks. So then I missed his banner because I didn't want to start playing until later. So I didn't get him until the first rerun. But yeah, it was pretty immediate, and I was texting with some of the other cast members that I know, like Zach, and I was like, hey, did you realize this was such a big deal? Because I didn't. And he was like, no. I just kind of went in and went, Windblade, and now it's this big deal. And I was like, yeah, I think we got ourselves into something a bit intense, which is very exciting. But I love how passionate everybody has been about this game. I genuinely really enjoy playing it. I think it's a really good game, which helps me be passionate about it back to you guys. So, thank you.
Yep. Also, the Ferris wheel that you were on in Galway, my friend who lives in Galway got stuck on that Ferris wheel for 3 hours.
Oh my
or
gosh.
so.
I'm glad I didn't get stuck. I would have missed my tour bus home.
She was very excited when she saw that you were in Galway.
Yeah, yay!
Yeah.
It was so fun. I loved Galway. Thank you.
Hi, I had 2 questions, if that's okay. First, I wanted to ask, do you see a lot of like familiar faces across the projects you do, or is it like by the end, are you like, oh, I've worked with that person 4 times now?
Yeah, so I don't, when I'm recording, I'm by myself in a little box, basically, sometimes with a window, sometimes with no windows. So I don't know who's in a project generally unless I ask, or until the cast list is announced. If I'm going in to record like an anime, and then I'm not the first one to record and I can hear some of the other people, sometimes I'll recognize a voice and I'll be like, oh hey, is that Zach? And they'll be like, yeah, it is. But yeah, it's generally at the end, and then I find out and I'm like, oh, we're in another project together, how exciting. It is starting to be like less common for me to be with the same cast of people so often, because when I first started, it was such a smaller niche thing that just not a lot of people were voice actors back when I first started. So there was like a certain amount of us, and then we would kind of rotate in and out of all the different projects. And now I compete against hundreds of people for every single role, and I'm like, this is a lot more intense. So it's cool to get to meet so many new people nowadays. But I generally don't actually get to meet them unless I'm at a convention, which makes these extra fun for me. So then when I'm like next to other actors, like I saw Johnny in the green room and I was like, Johnny, I haven't seen you in years, even though we've been in various things together. So yeah, so we like conventions for that reason as well, to get to see all the actors here.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I also wanted to ask if you had a favorite moment from any of the Danganronpa games you were in.
Oh, Okay, it's hard to. I'll try to not spoil anything.
Yeah.
Even though the games are old, but still, if you haven't played them, you should play them. And they're murder mysteries, so I don't want to get into details. But one of my favorite little moments is after Kirigiri goes in the trash chute, and then she has the noodles on her head, and she's so serious. And they showed me the little image of her. They were like, it's really cute. She has like a cup of noodles on her head. And I was like, should I be like aware that I have noodles on my head? And they were like, no, serious things are happening. She doesn't care about the noodles. And I was like, okay, great. But I really like that moment. And during the game, intense things are happening. So I like that part of the story a lot. And then I gotta try to really not spoil things for V3. But that whole experience, I'll just say, they didn't tell me anything before I went in there. And so I had the same experience as all of you while I was recording that game. And that's all I'll say about that. But yeah, it was very fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hello, Kurapika Kurta.
Hello.
Hi.
My question for you is, I was wondering if there were any characters that you voiced that was really difficult on your voice that you struggled with.
Oh, God, yes. So not usually. Normally, when I audition, I'm very cognizant of, like, what hurts, and I don't do a voice that hurts. Mm-hmm. There was one time where I want to say tricked. And it was for Beyblade. I played the protagonist of Beyblade Burst Rise, Dante. He's a silly, fun guy, but he's very excited about everything. So he screams every single line. And when I did the audition, I did 2 versions of a boy voice for the audition. One that was kind of more like venti-ish, like kind of up here, like I'm a cute little guy. And then one that was like, I'm an anime protagonist, blah, 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 you know, whatever. And so they wanted the gruffer one, which already I was like, all right, that's fine, because he'll do some screams and we'll do those at the end of the session, it'll be fine. And then I went in and they were like, no, when he's happy, he screams, and when he's sad, he screams, and when he's angry, he screams extra loud. And actually, it's so loud that in the script, instead of writing scream, it writes roar. And I was like, uh-oh. So normally for sessions, I can go up to 4 hours, like really no problem with most of my characters. For Beyblade, I had to stop at 2 hours, because at the end of 2 hours, I would be like, okay, 3, 2, 1, let it rip. I'm ready. And it was really difficult. I grew to be like, oh God, okay, I've got a Beyblade session this week. I gotta really mentally prepare and drink a lot of tea. So yeah, that was a real lesson. I did really injure my voice on that show. Like I lost an octave for about a year, which sucked because then I had to go in and do like 7 Deadly Sins, who's really up here, Sir Meliodas. And I couldn't do that for a year. So I had to kind of fake it, like being like, Sir Meliodas, like a little breath here. Thankfully, the Japanese actress for Elizabeth had gotten lower as the seasons went on. So I was like, that means I'm allowed to also get slightly lower as the seasons go on. And no one will know unless you watch the last episode and then immediately go back to the first episode and you go, hey, this is a different kind of voice going on here. But yeah, it was really stressful, and I had a lot of my biggest projects record around the same time that my voice was injured too, like Final Fantasy VII, which I was so excited to be a part of. I remember the week I was recording, I was like, oh my God, I'm like gonna lose my voice and they're gonna fire me and then I'll never be in Kingdom Hearts because they'll be like, boo, you can't be in Final Fantasy, so you can't be in Kingdom Hearts. And I was really stressed about it. But it all worked out, and now Beyblade Burst is over. They kept inviting him. I guess everyone really likes Dante, which is great. But they kept inviting him back for all the other seasons as like kind of a supporting character. And I would go, oh no, he's here. And he started one of the subsequent seasons, with a 12-second roar. That was his first line. And I was like, oh, my voice has just repaired itself. And now here we are again. So yeah, thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello again.
It's
So
too hot in these lights.
first off, I really want to plug your YouTube channel with the K Games. We've been fans for a very long time. We love the series with Sarah. If you haven't watched it, you really should, especially just if you're a fan of the series. Watching someone go in that blind and seeing all the reactions is funny. Her with Atlantica was priceless.
Oh my God, her reactions to Atlantica were so unexpected. I
Yeah.
expected so many reactions throughout the game, and I had no clue that her reaction to the boys turning into undersea creatures would be as strong as it was. She had like a visceral reaction to
Yeah.
Donald, and I was like, what's happening over here?
And also big fans of the Among Us Genshin live streams, which
Thank you.
I think you have one tonight, don't you?
Yes, we are going to be doing a stream tonight. Since I'm at a convention, I'm not streaming on my channel, but the other actors, you can watch on Sarah's channel, for
Right.
instance. But yes, we will be doing an Among Us stream tonight.
My one question is, though, as a fellow Kingdom Hearts nerd, Kingdom Hearts 4 comes out, you get to add one world of your choice. What would you add?
Can you ask that question one more time?
Oh, no problem.
I looked at the microphone and I got distracted.
It's cool, I get it. I said if Kingdom Hearts 4 is coming out and you get to add any world of your choice, what are you picking?
Oh God. Literally any character with a name is what I would love. I really like the design of Skuld. And I assume she'll be in Kingdom Hearts 4. Like, I don't know that we know for sure that she will be, but like probably. And so I would love to be her, or like Strelitzia. So cute, love it. Yeah, here's the thing. So I want to be a character in it. But then a little part of me also is like, but what if I don't want to be a character in it? Because it really changes your relationship with a project to be in the project. When I was in Kingdom Hearts 3 as just background characters, that I was like, this is the best of both worlds, because I did not want to know what was going to happen in the game. And since I was just background characters, they weren't telling me any of the plot. They were just like, all right, now you're on this world, and this guy runs up a building, and you're like, did that guy just run up a building? And I was like, great, perfect. That's Sora clearly running up a building. That's fine. I already knew that from the trailers. So it's a weird situation to be such a big fan of something that also now is not out of the realm of possibility that I could get into. But also, I'm not an A-list celebrity, and sometimes for Kingdom Hearts games, they're like, what if we had one of the Sprouse twins come in and do this, you know? Or like Jesse McCartney, and so on and so forth. So I think I'll be happy with whatever happens. But it would be cool to be a character.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. How long did it take to record all your voice lines for Persona 5? Because that's like a really long game.
To record all the lines for Persona 5?
Yeah.
Oh, that was one of the longest recording situations I've had, because I don't know if you know, the game
About
is quite
200
long.
hours, yeah.
Just playing through the game takes over 100 hours, and you don't get through everything.
Yeah,
in
I went
every
through
single
everything.
playthrough. Yeah. So it was multiple months of recording for just that first base game. I want to say like 4-ish months straight of doing like at least 3 times a week going in and recording for 4-hour sessions, which was great. It was very helpful that she was just basically my regular voice. So I just basically went in and talked and kind of played myself for 4 months straight, which was nice. And then, we've had lots of spin-offs since then, which also have quite a lot of lines. Not quite as much as that first initial batch, but it's been a good portion of my life has been in the booth recording for Persona at this point. And I love it so much. Every time they invite me in for another spin-off, I'm like, another one? All right. I mean, I love On, so I'm ready. Here we go. But yeah, it's a very special game. If you guys haven't played it and you have 100 free hours in your life, you should check it out.
Do you get all the context for it, like the script, before you do your lines, or
Do I get what?
like all the script before you have to do your lines?
Ooh, no. So when I record for almost everything that I do, I never see a script before I'm in the booth. Which is why if you're interested in being a voice actor, a skill that you should work on is sight reading. And one of the things I like to do is I take a book off of my bookshelf and I open it to a random page, and then I just start reading from the top, like with purpose, and like if there's dialogue with different characters. And because that's what they expect you to do. They expect you to show up. They'll put the portion of the script on the screen where you're starting from, so not the beginning. The director will be like, all right, so like before this big explosion just happened, and like one of your friends got hurt, so you're pretty upset about it. Okay, 2 takes, go. And then you're just supposed to go. So almost everything that you hear, especially in video games from me, is like just sight read. And you have to be able to comprehend things really, really fast. So I wish that I got the full script, but also I don't, because I don't have time in my life to read through all those scripts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay! All right, thank you guys so much. I think we're at the end. Amazing. You guys had great questions. Thank you. I'm glad we got to discuss Kingdom Hearts so much. That was great. I loved it. I will be at my table for the next 4.5 hours. No. 5, yeah, till 5 today. I was like, how many hours is that? 4.5 hours. And yeah, come on by if you want to. You guys are so great. Those of you that came yesterday almost bought me out of all my prints, so we had to go get some more printed today. So I think, in theory, we've got some more. So if you were looking for like some little Persona prints, we've got some now. Amazing. Anyway, thank you guys so much. Have a great weekend. Bye.